sisters and my brothers. I hope everybody had a good night's rest. All right, a couple of things. First of all, Sister Karen, where's Karen? Come here, Sister Karen. And your co-chair. And all the members of the Board of Christian Education who are here, will you please stand? On behalf of the Second Episcopal District, I want to thank y'all for a wonderful job you all have done. This has been an awesome Christian Education Congress. Summer Summit. I want to thank all of our instructors and all of those who participated in any kind of way. Y'all did a marvelous job, and on behalf of the Second District, we just want to say thank you to y'all and keep on doing what you're doing. All right? You want to say anything?
Well, absolutely I do. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for your presence here, for coming out and making a difference. We worked really hard. We came together, and what I just want to reiterate is what the bishop said. This was a collaborative effort of the entire Christian Education Department. We work with every component, from RAYAC to CDMC to Scouting to Sons of Allen, and of course, as you can see, the Music and Christian Arts Ministry. And we came together and it made a difference. It touched lives, it changed lives. And so we want to continue to be intentionally intergenerational so that we can not only fulfill the requirements of our grant program, but so that we can be the church at its best. And so I thank you all, and I appreciate what you all have done just by being here. Thank you.
Let me just say, just ditto what Reverend Myers has said. We've seen it all around us. God has changed this place. And we're going to go home and continue what we have done here. We thank all of you for your efforts, for everything that you did. You were on time. The kids were beautiful, well-disciplined. We just praise God for everything. I'm going to stop there because even though I don't have license to preach, but I do know Jesus. And so I just want to say thank all of you for what you've done, and we look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you all again so very, very much. All right. And let me thank all of those who worked our AV system. You all did a good job. Let me ask presiding elders Morris and Hunter to stand. And let me ask those who took leadership from the Virginia Conference in helping to arrange this meeting in Hampton. Won't you please stand? Virginia, you all did a great job. All right. Let me thank you. And Elder Hunter, he was so happy at that worship service the other night. He started off in high gear, but y'all did a great job. Y'all did a great job. Let me ask all of the presiding elders to stand. I want to thank the elders. You know, there's a lot of things that go on that you don't see out front, but that happens behind the scenes to help things fall in order. And I want to thank this Council of Presiding Elders. I want to thank their president, Presiding Elder Morris, and all of them for the cooperation and the support they've given, the leadership they've given in helping to get all these people here and make sure things went decent and in order, for the counsel and advice they give. I tell people the presiding elders are the bishop's cabinet, and I don't have them just for decoration. I'll have them because I want their advice and their counsel. And let me tell you, the bishop and presiding elders don't agree on everything. My brother says, when we agree on everything, you all in trouble. All right? So I do listen attentive and get their input. I want to thank y'all for a job well done. Give them a hand. All right, Sister Pamela Assembly, would you please stand? I want to thank Sister Assembly, the bishop's assistant, for doing a marvelous job and helping to keep all this together. And all of you all who call her, and then she calls me, and she said, Bishop, I was retired, and I was enjoying my retirement. Then you asked me to do this. And I said, I did. And I'm going to keep on asking her to do it. But she's done a wonderful job, and I want to thank her for helping. And there's a lady in the district who tries to act like she's laid back and calm and doesn't get excited and all that kind of stuff. That's the way she wants it to appear. But take my word for it, I hear from her every day, sometimes 2-3 times a day. But she has been invaluable and does a marvelous job of handling the finances for the 2nd District. Dr. Vanetta Bryce, stand up, please. She's a terrific accountant. And then working with her, and I laugh that the first time you're going to hear me have said this, and if I look different after this meeting, it's because both of them gang tackled me. But I smile when both of them are together and stand. I refer to it as the long and the short of it. Shondell, stand up. Shondell is absolutely superb. She does a marvelous job. And has a wonderful, always has a pleasant smile on her face. And I want to thank her for all of her support and for all of her help. Now, somebody else I was about to call on, I forgot who I was about to call on. Oh, yeah, where is Devin? But y'all know, I don't know what he means by this, but I'm worried about it. Whenever he's not around, this is his excuse. I was in Bible study. Now, I want y'all to find out what kind of study is going on. He needs some help. He needs. Stand up, Chico. Now, Chico worked in my office when I was in the 6th District and did a wonderful job, and was really upset when I left. And so he keeps following me. Everywhere I go, he's not a preacher, but he keeps saying he wants a transfer. I keep telling him lay people don't get transfers. But I'm working on it. I'm going to try. We'll be moving the office in end of this month or early next month, and try to keep somebody in the office all the time and get some of the off the load of Sister Assembly. So Chico, I'm praying, and we'll see what we can see about you. I don't know about the transfer, but at least coming to work in the office, all right? All right, is Regina in here? Okay, and let me see, Devin's in Bible study. Regina's in prayer meeting. All right. Regina has an intern. She's the executive assistant to the pastor at St. Philip in Atlanta, and they had Vacation Bible School, and they had some interns, and she brought one of them with her, and he has had a ball, and I found out now why he is such a great guy. He's originally from the state of Delaware. A lot of good stuff comes out of Delaware. Stand up, all right? And I felt a little sorry for him this week. He looks a whole lot like Seth. And some of y'all went up and grabbed him and said, Seth. But I'm glad you have done a great job being here. And I want y'all to be in prayer for Seth. Seth was to be here this week. He was coming. Christy's mother, and I want you to be in prayer for my mother-in-law. We moved her back to Cleveland. And she is now really battling dementia. And so they asked if Seth could come in. She still remembers Seth. And so they want so you all be in prayer for him, all right? He and his grandmother were very, very close, all right? All right. Now, my brothers and my sisters, let me thank all of our component heads who have also helped to make this meeting well. Dr. Celeria Moore, stand. There's my late president here. All right, my late president was here. I know she had to leave. President of Women in Ministry, where is she? Well, I want to commend her. She showed up at every annual conference and participated. I want to thank her for that. The head of our spouses organization, stand up. Happy to have you in the house. I want to thank you because you got your husband here. I want to thank you for that. Thank you, Elder. Even got the elder's brother here. Stand up, Reverend. Now, this is the other Hayward. He pastors in New York and Copiague, and an outstanding pastor. And he came down to be with his brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and I want to thank you for coming and staying with us. Mm-hmm. All right, if I forgot anybody, to come back to me before I get where I'm going, all right? All right, now I want to also thank our music ministry this week. You all... Reverend Dillard, come here, my friend. Well, it look like they're coming anyway. This brother's done a marvelous job. with our music ministry. And he said to me the other day, Bishop, I'd like to say something at the meeting before we close. I said, you want to say something or play something? He said, I want to say something. So I want us to hear him and his aspirations and his desires. My brother?
Good morning, 2nd Episcopal District. After thoughtful reflection, prayer, and listening to God and the voices around me, I stand before you today with both humility and excitement to officially announce that I am running for the Connectional Director of the Music and Christian Arts Ministry of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. This is not a decision I made lightly. For me, leadership has never been about titles. It's about service. It's about showing up, listening with intention, and putting in the work even when no one is watching. I'm running with a clear purpose to lift every voice, unite every heart, and keep the connection in key. In the months ahead, I look forward to connecting with as many of you as possible, hearing your concerns, sharing my vision, and outlining the steps we can take together to bring that vision to life. The campaign isn't about one person. It's about all of us coming together with a shared mission, a shared heart. I'm asking for your support, your prayers, your partnership on this journey. Thank you, 2nd District, for believing in me and the power of what we can achieve together. I'm ready to get to work, and I hope you are too. I look forward to continuing to not only serve the 2nd Episcopal District, but the International African Methodist Episcopal Church. Please keep me in your prayers. Thank you for your support.
Good morning, 2nd District, Bishop Jackson, and all of us in the 2nd District family. I've known this brother a long time. We've served together, and he is a wonderful candidate. And I'm asking that the 2nd District will go on record, Bishop, of endorsing the candidacy of our brother, the Reverend Anthony Radcliffe, for the office which he seeks, Christian Arts and Ministry for our Zion. He'll do a great job.
Thank you so much. And I want my brother to know that he had the support of his bishop, and I'm sure he will have the support of the 2nd District as we prepare to go to camp. Well, when is y'all's election?
It's in June of 2026 at the Christian Education Congress, following General Board in Orlando, Florida.
All right. So we will do all we can to help our brother to be elected. I think he has demonstrated his ability, shown his commitment, and he is able for the task. So you got us 100%.
Thank you so much.
All right. God bless you. And now, my brothers and sisters, let me also ask Shondell, please stand up again. Now, Shondell is aspiring to be elected as the 3rd Vice President of the International WMS. She is presently the treasurer for the WMS and has done an absolutely fantastic job. And so I want to make it clear that she has 100% support from her bishop, and I am hoping that she will have 100% support from the 2nd District. Now, brothers and sisters, I don't just support anybody. And I also don't support you just because you happen to be from the 2nd District. I believe you ought to put the best people in positions where they can provide the best. So I have no doubt that Shondell will be able to serve her best, provide her best, and help African Methodism to be the best. So I want her to be with her, and I want us to support her so she can come back as the 3rd Vice President of the International WMS. All right? Thank you, Ms. Shondell. You want to say anything?
Praise the Lord. To the 2nd Episcopal District, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you, Bishop, for the opportunity. I thank you guys for just your continued support and prayers as I seek the office of, as I seek as an aspirant of Connectional 3rd Vice President of the Women's Missionary Society. I thank you for your continued support as I served as treasurer. You guys have raised me, you guys have nurtured me, and I ask that you walk beside me as we strive to lead God's church, as we strive to inject energy into the membership and the recruitment of the WMS, as we strive to connect life members and young adults and regular missionaries and associate members to strengthen the ministry that God has called us to do. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Turner. Thank you, Washington Conference. Thank you, 2nd Episcopal District. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Now, brother, this is one other person, and he did not know I was going to do this today. But you know, timing is everything. And, you know, sometimes you say stuff, and it, you know, in AME Church, there's a way you do something. If you want to get something out, there's a way you do it. The other day, I made an announcement about Reverend Rodriguez Johnson, Jr., and told you all it would be out before the service was over. Sitting right where Elder Morris is, I got a text before the service was over. You got to know how to do that. And so I want to do this. I am so absolutely delighted to be the bishop of the 2nd District. And I want to thank you all for y'all's support. But let me remind you, nobody does anything by themselves. I would not be where I am today if I had to do all of this by myself. The last quadrennium, I spoke to a young brother in the 2nd District and urged him to run for chairman of the Episcopal Committee because the church needed a change. And I love the AME Church. I'm going to always do what's best for the AME Church. So the AME Church still needs change if we're going to be the church at its best. And so the last quadrennium, I supported a young man from this district who was really born in Georgia, but pastors in this district, and to be chairman of the Episcopal Committee. And we're getting ready for another general conference, and I'm going to support him again. And, you know, some folk are already doing their part to try to block that. Some people love the status quo. And it's not about what's best for the church, it's about what's best for me. And I think we should always do what's best for the church. And so I think Dr. Bill Lamar would be an outstanding chairman. And some of you all have no idea what it took for me to come to the 2nd District. In fact, the beginning of last quadrennium, there were folk working very hard to get me to my home district, to the 1st District. And I love the 1st District. There's no place like home. I will always tell folk I'm from the 1st District, but I'm in the 2nd District. And I agree with you, some people had some other plans, and the night before the general conference closed, I got an email from some folk on the Episcopal Committee who said, we want to send you to the 1st. 1st is your home. 1st is in trouble. You go home, you can straighten it out. Now, I know they didn't mean that. Oh, you got to get to know people. I know they didn't mean that. That was really an attempt to get me to go to the 1st, to open up the 2nd for somebody else. And so I sent a text back. I said, I said it was people from the 2nd District who came to me and asked me if I would come to the 2nd. I didn't go to them, they came to me. And I told them if they wanted me, I'd want them. I said, so I'm going to keep my word and go to the 2nd District. And I really thought we were done with that. We were sitting in the closing worship service. And I was minding my business. And worship ought to be worship. But then I got this text message. Text message said, Bishop, we're going to send you to Alabama. I said, who? We'll send you to Alabama. That was to get at me for not agreeing to go to the 1st. So I sent a message back. I said, well, you do your best to get me in Alabama, and we're going to do our best to get me in the 2nd. And either way, just expect a major problem when y'all give y'all's report. But I want you to know that Bill Lamar stood strong. Matter of fact, he stood so strong, somebody told me he spoke in tongues. And the word does say, when you speak in tongues, if the Lord is behind it, there are folk who understand what you're saying. I understand a whole lot of folk understood what he was saying. And he's not here because he is in the 11th district where he presented there for Christian Education Congress. But Bill Lamar and Matthew Watley did an awesome job representing the 2nd district. And so I want to publicly thank them and thank you, because if it was not for you all, I would not be sitting where I'm sitting now, all right? But I want to let y'all know Bill Lamar has my 100% support to be the next chairman of the Episcopal Committee.
Beloved, I just want to thank you all for your extraordinary support last time, and to be very clear that we intend to run again, but not just run. We intend to win this time. And thank you. We intend to win. We intend to serve and lead the committee with integrity, with a listening ear, refusing to be intimidated, refusing to be bought, refusing to be sold, refusing to be intimidated, and willing to speak in tongues. God bless you.
Oh, I thank you so much, Dr. Lamar. I see Regina's prayer meeting is over. Stand up, Regina. That's my second mother. Now, my sisters and my brothers, I want to again thank the members of the board of our 6th District CDC who are doing a marvelous job. I also want to say that I do have our concerns about our shelter in North Carolina. I want to remind the 2nd District that that shelter is not North Carolina Conference or Western North Carolina Conference shelter. It is the 2nd District shelter. And there's some things we need and have to do to strengthen that shelter. I don't want that shelter to play second fiddle to anybody. And so between the end of next week and the week after, I'm going to come to North Carolina and meet with the board and do what we have to do. Matter of fact, so all the members of the board don't have to travel. I will probably come to North Carolina because I've not been to the shelter, but arrange for a board meeting virtually. So whatever it is we need to work out for that shelter, we want to get it worked out. Whatever we have to do for that shelter to be the best it can be, that's what we're going to do. All right? Any question on that? All right. Now, my sisters and brothers, let me say a word about what I'm going to ask the 2nd District to do or the leadership to provide moving forward. You know, when I came to the 2nd District, I was trying to find a place in the, was it North Harbor or whatever they call it? National Harbor. I was trying to find a place in the National Harbor. And I wanted a place in the National Harbor because they told me it's a lot of restaurants and all that stuff there. Man, I won't cook. Not at all. After I finish oatmeal, I'm done. But couldn't find a place in the National Harbor. And so I kept looking. And then Mother Jackson, Regina, told me she found me a place. I said, what do you mean you found me a place? I said, I found you a place. And so I went to see it. Very nice building. Very nice building in Washington, D.C. And I was so impressed with the building that I decided to live there. And when I came to the 2nd District, I said, you know, I'm not going to do all the stuff in Washington like I did in New Jersey and Georgia. I said, I'm not going to do all that. And I'm going to find me a place away from the politicians and all of that. And so I signed the lease. After I signed the lease, I was going to check out the place. I heard a voice call my name, Bishop Jackson. I turned around. It was Christian Gillibrand, the United States Senator from New York. I said, oh, Senator, how you doing? She said, I'm doing fine. I said, I see you in here. Are you moving in here? I said, yeah. Then she said, I live here. And then she said, a lot of congressional people live here. I went back to that office and told them I wanted to tear up this lease. And they said, well, Bishop, you've already paid for the first couple of months. You can't tear it up. Well, I can't tell you what I said, but I said, boy. And so then when I went to the unit, every morning I wake up, the first thing I see is the Jefferson Memorial. And I keep saying, didn't mean a word he wrote. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men, didn't mean a word he wrote. Then I looked this way, and that was the Washington Monument. I said, boy. And then I looked a little farther, I saw the roof of the White House. I said, they got me like radar spelled backwards. They got me coming and going. But my brothers and sisters, this is a difficult time in the life of this country. And I'm not sure if many of you understand how difficult a time we are living in. And it's especially so for blacks. There's been a lot of talk about blacks in this administration. And a poll was taken about 3 years ago now. And in the poll, they asked the question, what emotion best describes your mindset in the times in which we live? I was distraught because in that Pew Research Center poll, 53% of black folk said that the emotion that best described their state of mind is fear. We are afraid. And I could not understand how black folk, with all that we've been through, could be afraid. And then the Lord spoke to me and said, yes, you can. And the Lord led me to this passage in the book of Joshua. And I went to that passage in Joshua. And these were the words that Joshua spoke to the people of Israel. He said to them, we have to stick together because we have not passed this way before. What he was really saying is the people who left Egypt with Moses were not the same people going into the promised land. This meeting's theme is centered around intergenerational. Most blacks living in this country today were born after the civil rights movement. They know nothing about some of the stuff some of us have gone through. This is new to them. The folk who left Egypt with Moses, many of them never made it to the land of promise. The average age of a black in the United States today is 31. 31 years old. And so this is a new experience for them. See what I mean? And over again, you hear, what are blacks going to do? And I believe we have to be honest with ourselves. There are reasons why some blacks are responding the way they're responding. And there is what I call a crisis of conflicting voices in this country that has to be addressed. There is a deliberate effort now to make it so that the evangelical Christians, the far right, as if they are the spokespeople for the faith community in this country. And it's as if the black church doesn't exist, doesn't have any power. And so I keep being bombarded with, what are we going to do? And so I've been speaking with some of the bishops in the AME Church and in the AME Zion Church and in the CME Church. And I will be meeting with them within the next 2 weeks. And we're aiming, we're going to aim for October. But October is not time enough for what I'd like to see us do. So we will probably shoot for February. The number one priority of this administration is to do away with diversity, equity, and inclusion. In other words, anything having to do with blacks and people of color, get rid of it. You've heard them say diversity is bad. They never tell you why, they just say it's bad. And some of us do not understand what they're saying when they talk about make America great again. In their mind, make America great again means to go back to the time prior to 1960. In their mind, the greatest time in America was back during the time when there was no civil rights laws, there were no voting rights laws, there was not equal opportunity. It was a time when this country was run by white men. And part of the problem that white women are having now, they were so naive. They don't realize that the far evangelical rights, evangelical Christians, They weren't including them in the leadership of this country. That's why the Supreme Court overruled the Warren decision relating to reproductive rights. It was a message to white women: you ain't in charge of your body. We tell you what to do. And so everything, look at the legislation, look at the executive orders which are being handed down. All of them try to point us back to a time when you didn't have all of these newfound rights. In fact, the founders of this country, and I commend them, the founders of this country laid an absolutely terrific system of government. Now, they may not have meant what they said, but at least it made sense. No, they said this government will have three branches: the executive, legislative, and judicial. My brothers and sisters, stop and look at what's happening. This president, and I never call his name, I can't, won't get out, won't fall from my mouth. But this orange man, all the executive orders that he has issued, 95% of them are illegal. They are illegal. For example, one executive order talks about closing the Department of Education. That's an executive order, and they're in the process of doing it. Yet the Constitution says that in order to close down any cabinet department, it has to be approved by Congress. But because the Senate is controlled by the other party, they're not going to try to overrule this executive order. They're going to let it go. Because what Trump says is what we're going to do. All of the folk who have been laid off, these federal employees, again, their salaries have been approved by the budget. The president does not have the authority by executive order to fire any of them. Yet he has fired thousands. Congress has subverted its authority because they are intimidated of the president. And so therefore, the legislative branch of government has yielded to the executive branch. So then you come to the third branch, the judicial branch. And you have some federal judges who've had the courage and the conviction to rule on what the Constitution says. But because the orange man appointed these three new justices to the Supreme Court, and so the far-right conservatives have a block on the Supreme Court. So what do? They do a bunch of dumb stuff. First of all, they rule that the president has immunity. He could get mad with me for what I'm saying, have somebody from the FBI come in here and arrest me or shoot me. I prefer the arrest. And it would be no problem because as long as he's in office, he's immune. He can do whatever he wants to do. He is immune. Yet the Constitution says no one is above the law. This Supreme Court says that's not right. The president is. And so now the Supreme Court is overruling a whole lot of decisions that federal judges have ruled on. In fact, 2 days ago, the Supreme Court ruled that the president had the authority to close down the Department of Education. Now, the Constitution states Congress, the Senate would have to approve it. But the Supreme Court, again, yielding to the man who appointed them, says we rule, the president can do it. So we're at a point now in this country where really you have one level of government which is superior to the other two. Executive branch has super authority. That's where we are. Our brothers and sisters, we're about to face some very difficult challenges. Right now, they can stop you on the street, arrest you. They don't have to tell you why they're arresting you. They're even denying people their right to call a lawyer. In other words, they're doing away with due process. When they send you to some of these little islands out here surrounded by alligators. So that's where we are. And so the question comes, well, what's the black church going to do besides talk? And we good at talking. Some months ago, Jamal Bryant called me and we got together on this boycott of Target. On this boycott of Target. And Target refused to go back to support their programs to strengthen diversity. What most people don't know, one of the reasons why Target did not yield was because the president, the orange man, had a call with the president of Target. Can I tell you what he said? What he told the president of Target? Don't worry about it. It won't last long. In other words, his message was, black folk gonna talk a good game, but it ain't gonna last. And so that's where we are. The feeling, with black protests and all that, the feeling is they're gonna protest, they're gonna holler, they're gonna scream, but it ain't gonna last long. We are this nation's #1 consumer. And most blacks don't know that. Blacks are the United States' #1 consumer. We have problems keeping money in our pocket. We got to spend it. Debt don't bother us. We max out our credit card, we just go get another one. Debt, our brother and sister, if you really want, there's so many signs that we just miss. Look at advertising in the black community and then look at it in other communities. In the white community, you don't see all these McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Carvel. You don't see all those places on the main street in white communities. They on the ring outside, but they not downtown. Ride through the black community. They got every major fast food chain on the main thoroughfare. Because they know we eat poorly. We love fast food. And then when it comes to beauty, the #1 consumer for hair products in the black community is the barber shop and the beauty shop. We are the #1 consumer. We're beautiful but broke. That's where we are. So, brothers and sisters, what I am proposing to black faith leaders across the country is that in February, and really I got this idea from Richard Allen. Now let me say this, I didn't talk to him personally about it. But what happened is most people don't realize the first Colored People's Convention, Richard Allen was the presiding officer. And we need another people of color convention. And so what I'm proposing is that in February, during Black History Month, that we would take 2 days, have a Black People's Convention. February gives us time to rally support from funders to help underwrite the cost of the convention. And in fact, when I was in Georgia, there is a black philanthropist in North Carolina. I've never met the man. I've never talked with the man. But the man has a woman, I won't give her name, but there's a woman who supervises his philanthropic work. And she called me in Georgia regarding the 2020 election. I said, Bishop, we have to win Georgia. And my boss wants to give some money to the AME Church in Georgia. He sees what you all have been doing. And he wants to give some money to help see if we can win Georgia in 2020. And he sent us a check for $200,000. And so I spoke with her a week before last. And she's so excited because she lives in North Carolina. And she said, Bishop, we're going to help you all because we have got to do something. And unless the church does it, it's not going to get done. And she has committed to get with other philanthropists to help underwrite it. But we want 2 days. And between now and February, I'm talking with several of our leading black theologians, Dr. Obi Hendricks and some others. For this election, they put out Project 2025. We're going to put out Project 2026. And it's going to be geared toward next year's midterm elections. And it's going to detail some things that if we elect the right folk, we can undo what 47 is trying to do. Our brothers and sisters, we have no idea how close we are. In the Congress, we need 3 seats. And to show you how pitiful we are, and it aggravates me and angers me every time I think about it, because again, blacks should have and could have determined the outcome of the 2024 election. The only reason the orange man is in the White House is because of us. For example, he won every swing state in this nation. He won Milwaukee. He won Milwaukee by about almost 30,000 votes. In the city of Milwaukee alone, there were over 100,000 blacks who didn't vote. He won Pennsylvania, which was really the big kahuna. He won Pennsylvania by about 243,000 votes. In Philadelphia alone, there were over 400,000 blacks who didn't vote. And what upset me in Georgia, where I worked very hard, and we won that state in 2020. In Georgia, he won Georgia by about 245,000 votes. In Atlanta alone, there were more than 545,000 blacks who didn't vote. If blacks had voted, the orange man would not be in that White House today. So we're going to have this convention in February. We're going to put together our Project 2026, and it's going to be based on the Bible. It's going to be grounded in theology. And tell them, let them argue about that. They just passed this big, beautiful bill, which is going to cut over 30 million people from Medicare. They passed that budget, which will cut the amount of money spent for SNAP, which is really food stamps. There are more poor people in this country today than there have ever been. And that big, beautiful bill cuts safety net spending by over $1 trillion. And the top 5% in this country, they will benefit. The lower 95% of us, we're going to either get a very small tax cut. When I say very small, it could be like $120. Or your taxes are going to go up. And their bet is that by the next election in 2026, a lot of blacks will have forgotten all about that. It won't last long. So you'll be getting information relative to it. We want to have a huge crowd of people in the nation's capital. We want to have the attention of the national media, and we want to put the other side in a position where they have to respond. They claim to be so Christian. Then explain how you stand in opposition to God's word. I want to hear the orange man. I want to hear the orange man say, now in 2 Chronicles, it says. See what I mean? And let me add that leading up to that, and we're looking probably at the second Sunday, which is also Founders Day for the AME Church, we're going to try to have black churches all across the country. Everybody, all the black preachers preaching around the same theme of justice. All right? No matter what black church you go to, they're talking about justice. And we're going to be reaching out to the Lutherans, to the Episcopalians. Bishop Booty from the Episcopal Church and I have become very good friends. She's the one who spoke at the president's prayer breakfast and got him all bent out of shape. She has committed that she would be one of the speakers, and we're going to try to make it not just a black thing, but a national thing. All right? And then the day following, we're going to be sending a whole bunch of people to the United States Capitol to go to your senator's office or your representative's office and give them a copy of Project 2026. Try to have some meetings with them. Really, it's to try to make an impact in the nation. So you'll get the information soon, and I hope you will support and be responsive. I'm going to be depending an awful lot on the 2nd District. And there's some people, you know, they've gotten a new thing now. Everything come up. Jackson to chair it? No, I ain't interested in chairing everything. I do want to have a life, see what I mean? I want to be able to go and see, what's a good movie out now? No, I don't want to see Jurassic Park. I get scared of them animals. Superman, that's right. So I want to go see Superman, all right? But you'll be getting the information, and I hope you will respond and help us. Any questions on anything on that I've just said? Any questions on anything I've just said? All right, thank you so much. Now, one final thing before we get ready for our closing service. Now, my brothers and sisters, in a few months, I get back, in a couple of weeks, it's going to be August. Now, I want you all really seriously, honestly, I want you all to be in prayer for your bishop. You know, since I've got assigned to the 2nd, everything is happening. And I, you know, I like visiting the district, churches in the district. And let me say this, I'm not a big preacher, small preacher fan. I don't think the Lord has big churches and little churches. I think the Lord just has churches, all right? And so I try to get to as many churches as I can. And where the Assembly's helping me with this, because I'm getting a whole heap of invitations. And let me say this, part of it is there's some churches where I'm discovering where Bishop has never been. So now if I get invited to a larger church and one of the churches where Bishop has not been, chances are I'm going to go to the church where the bishop has never been. Because I think we need to understand that all of our churches are important. And as the bishop, you know, I take the position I'm the bishop of all of these churches. So I don't have big preachers and little preachers. Now, if you think you're a little preacher, then that's your dilemma, all right? But we in the Black Protestant tradition believe that God calls us. And so if God calls you, why would you think you were small? That's a major thing to say that the sovereign God called you, all right? The other point I want to make is the month of August, with the exception of the first Sunday in August. Reverend Mitchell here. All right, first Sunday in August, I'm going to Marlene Mitchell's church because I was supposed to go the last Sunday in July. And I asked her if she would let me change the date. Seth's birthday is July the 28th. And this is going to be his first birthday without his mama. And so I want to take Seth and a couple of his friends away on a trip somewhere. All right, so I don't want on his birthday, he'd be sitting up with me in Kalamazoo and don't know nobody, all right? So other than that, the rest of the month of August, this bishop is going to get some sense, all right? I'm trying to get ready for surgery which I should have had years ago, and I'm going to try to make me my first priority, all right? And So if you call me, call Sister Assembly, but I'm not going to answer. Elder Assembly, we got to have a talk with Sister Assembly. But I want you all, I want all the pastors who can. I do want you to try to make some time for yourself and your family during the month of August. All right? I want us to do that so that come the fall, we will be revived. We'll be physically renewed. All right? So if you don't hear from me in August, understand I'm going to try to spend some time with the family. I'm not sure if Regina going. You know how you don't want your mother to go on the trip? So I'm going to do that, and I'm hoping and I'm praying, hoping and praying that my goal is that by the midwinter meeting in February, and I'm not good at this, but if I can, I'm gonna do it. My goal is by the midwinter in February that y'all gonna see the bishop skip into the meeting. All right, that's gonna be my goal. All right. Now, Regina, you need to make an announcement.
Praise the Lord, everybody. So 2 things. One, our website is up, a new website, ame2.com, amen. I think we have a graphic for that, if the AV team can pull that up. It's been, if you know, when we got here, we didn't have access to anything, okay? So it has been a fight. If Sister Shanae Saunders can stand up, she has been such a blessing as it relates to all the technical things and getting with the company and trying to get access and control of our website again. So it is a work in progress, but we do finally have a website. Also, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. And also, I want to have another announcement. On October the 2nd at 11 a.m. in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Martin Luther King International Chapel, our very own bishop will be inducted into the Martin Luther King Board of Preachers. And Nathaniel Lally over there, he is the former vice president of the Chapel Assistants. And we were over there a few months ago, and they absolutely just adore my dad and have studied his work and were really unanimous in voting him into the MLK Board of Preachers, which is amazing. So we'll be sending out more information on that. There are a lot of other people being inducted as well, but all who can and will, we invite you to come out as our guy gets inducted. It's a much deserved and well overdue. So can we just celebrate him one more time? Congratulations.
All right, grace abounds. Yep. All right, now, brother Scissor, unless there's something else, we're going to get, a finance reports, Dr. Bryce and Sister Sean.